streaming on Twitch. Okay, let me just open these two up as well and check once. Are we live or not? And then I'll inform. I have to inform again. Okay, hello. Yeah, we are live on Kick. And let's see, are we live here? Hello. Yeah, we are live here as well. What I'll do is I'll just open the same in my other PC just in case, so that I do not fall victim to what happened last time. Not last time, as in like last year's stream. So what happened was, because of the internet speed, I kept going, but the stream got stuck. Don't want that to happen. And we will continue the Next.js stream later. No issue there. Okay, hello. Yeah. So this should do it. That will help me to gauge the entire issue. All right. So just to let the people of YouTube and Kick know, what we are going to do today is we are going to be doing the Next.js crash course, Next.js 15 crash course live. This is going to be the first stream of 2025. I plan on doing a lot of streams this year, hopefully, and that's kind of it. So this is available on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube live, and that's about it. The heading is also already there, so hopefully that should help people. Okay, and this stream, just to inform, this stream will also be available in the video section of this YouTube. Once the recording is done, I will be editing out the main content through this and will be adding it to the video section of it, so that you guys can actually watch later down the line. Okay. Yeah. So there's a bitrate issue that came up. My internet. There's a bitrate issue that came up. So hopefully this does not, like becomes like this. Widget. Okay. We'll see what happens. Hopefully there's no issue there. I don't know whether we can actually record as well. Should I do that? Let me just check, and then we'll a little bit later we'll start. Can I record and stream at the same time in OBS? Okay. Anyways, I'll do it later. No issue. So to start this stream now, we are going to go to XLE Draw, and I will be doing the intro once more so that everybody is on the same page. And this is for the recorded section as well. Okay, cool. Hi everyone, welcome to 2025 first live stream of Code Testing channel. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the entire Next.js 15 crash course, where we will be learning about the basics of Next.js by building an authentication system, authentication and authorization system. So in this just one live stream, or if you're watching it after the edited content in the video format, then in this just one video, you will learn how to go from basics, or you can say beginner, to kind of like intermediate in how to use the Next.js 15 framework. This is for the beginners. This is also for the people who want a refreshment to the Next.js 15 and want to see how or what have changed there, how to tackle the form error handling and things like that in the form aspect of the things. Okay, so this is going to be our intro, and now let's start from chapter 1, which is going to be context. So let me just put the context in picture for this particular video. What is it that we are going to do? To answer that, I need to make you understand what Next.js offers in terms of full stack. So in this Excel draw, you can actually look into it. Wait a minute. In this Excel draw, you can actually look into it. Okay. Hopefully the Twitch stream is also not hanging. Okay, so these are the things that will be cut off, right? Through that recorded video. Okay, so let's start. What is full stack? Well, consider this is a line, right? Think about this as a line and think about what makes things a full stack, right? Where the front end is, where the back end is. So let's start with this. Let's say this is our front end. Okay, this is our front end part of the things. And then this is, let's say, our back end part of the things. The thing is, it's quite a debate as to where the front end, I mean, what covers the back end, because back end is so vast. That's the point. Especially, I mean, in the same way, the front end is also quite vast. It's just that people do not consider the design, UX, UI aspect of the things in the front end because they are only concerned about the coding part of it. Whereas the back end is just coding in the first place, but you still consider the system design part of it in the back end, right? Yet you do not consider the UI, UX design systems and things like that in the front end for some reason, because then it becomes a domain of a designers. Well, that's how it is. Or maybe if I'm wrong, just correct me. But let's start with this. Okay. So front end is just front end, right? UI, things like that. So that is anyways covered by the Next.js. So there's no confusion there, I hope. Backend, on the other hand, has various things. So for example, backend starts with, let's say, you can say APIs, right? That's a backend thing. Then you have things like redirects, middleware, things like that. So let's start with that. So you have redirects, right? That's a part of it. Then you can also have some middlewares, right? Then you can also have databases. Cool. I'll do, okay. Hopefully that is working fine. Maybe I can just make it small, large. Yeah. Make it large, make it large, make it large. Cool. Then after database, you can also have some sort of like a cron jobs, right? Because scheduling is always there. So scheduling is going to be there, cron jobs. Then you can also have, I don't know, caching. Caching is one of the things which is like a part of the backend, right? Then you have some sort of like request tracing, right? This is one of the things that actually happens in the backend. Then you have streaming, multi-streaming, I think, if I am correct, there was multi-streaming part of it, right? Here we go. Then we have PubSub, microservices. So let's say PubSub, which is Kafka domain, you know, publisher, subscriber thing, or event-driven development, you can think of that way. And then you have microservices, right? A bunch of microservices are there. You also have, by the way, micro front ends. So, but I don't like that part much. And then you have some sort of like a DevOps, right? Which is part and parcel of the DevOps team. But this is also like too much. So the thing is, the Next.js actually covers if I have to like map it like this. So let me just do it this way. Let's assume. Okay, so let's draw the line here. So this is one, not like this. Okay. Let's do it only this way. Okay. So this is one, right? Then we have another one, which is this. Then we have another one, which is this. Then we have another one, which is this, right? So this is like where, so that we can actually see what it is, right? Scheduling is there. I think caching is not here. Caching can be done in there as well. I was thinking of Redis caching, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, and then you have this. Then you have multi-streaming. You can also have PubSub, which is the thing. Then you have microservices. And finally, you have whatever the DevOps end of the things is. In these entire thing, Next.js actually covers this till this point. So till this point, if I have to just make it like yellow, you can say this is Next.js part, right? Or Next.js coverage. If you require to do anything else apart from after the deep databases, right? Scheduling, request, multi-streaming, PubSub, microservices, DevOps, you actually reach out to other services or other SaaS products, right? So for example, you reach out to, maybe I can reach. Okay, it is working fine. So you reach out to say Upstash, you reach out to Redis Queue, you reach out to Elasticsearch, you reach out to a bunch of AWS services, right? You reach out to a bunch of other SaaS products. So everything is happening there, right? Rather than happening here. For PubSub, you reach out to set, I think, Confluent, Kafka, something like that. Or some sort of like a Google PubSub or some sort of like third-party service. These things can actually be made inside the backend system. For example, if I have to think of Nest.js, right? I will say that Nest.js actually covers pretty much everything here, right? So that's Next.js, that Express.js, that Golang, let's say, etc. Okay, so these actually covers the things till microservices. DevOps side is basically a kind of, you can say, I mean, you can do it, but you require third-party things because this is basically infrastructure part of things. So it is still technically a backend, but it is a little bit different. That's in my understanding, it's a little bit different. Okay. So for this video, for our context, for this particular context or this video, we are only going to be focusing around this part. We're not going to talk about scheduling, multi-streaming, PubSub, request tracing, microservices, DevOps, none of that. We're only going to focus about how the Next.js makes it possible for you to write front end and the parts of backend seamlessly, including APIs, redirects, middlewares, and databases. Cool. All right. And in the front end, if you have to actually write things, so it can be the UI, right? It will be SEO. It will be web perf optimization and web A11Y, which is accessibility. So these are the things in like in big picture that the front end covers. Cool. So this is the part one of the context. What is the context number two? Okay. So in this, okay. So covering, that was a context in which we will be looking into this particular course, or in this live stream, we will be looking into what we are actually going to cover in the context of Next.js. Now so that was in the context of front end and back end, what we are going to cover. In this, we are going, now I'm going to tell you in the context of that Next.js, what we are going to cover. Okay, so you can think of this as the topic or the table or some sort of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, what the topics that we are about to cover in this entire video. Okay. So the first thing that we are going to cover is, well, installation, obviously. And for that, we will be using PNPM for this point, right? I'm looking into some sort of like a workplace monorepo setup. So that's why I'm playing with PNPM. That's why I will be using the PNPM part of it. Then once this is done, we're going to look into basics like routing. It will be the routing section, which is most utilized in day-to-day work. Not everything that Next.js actually provides. Cool. So what sort of routing we have, what is the routing structure of Next.js, things like that. And while we are doing it, we will start building things up. The authentication system, we will start building those things up. Then I'll show you how to style things, and then style things, basically styling and font optimization will be the part of it. Like, it's very basic, how to include fonts, how to do these things. It's just one off topic. Then we will start with the layouts and pages. Then we will look into basically links, which is navigation, right? Then we are going to look into once the link is set up, we will also be setting up our DB, right? And for that, we will be using Vercel Postgres for this small tutorial. And in that, I will be using Supabase. Okay. Then we will have data fetch from there, data fetching. Okay. Then we will have rendering process. So basically, we have two types of rendering. One is static, and then we have dynamic, right? And we will be running into dynamic content here. And also because of these static and dynamic rendering content, we will have to look into something called streaming data, which actually streams the dynamic content while the static is already there. Cool. And then after that, we will be looking into I won't be looking into anything which is experimental, which is PPR, partial pre-rendering. I'm not going to look into that. It's a experimental technology. So not interested yet. Okay. But I'll just show you exactly what happens, but it will eventually fail because we will be using 15.1.3 Next.js and not the Canary version, and therefore it will fail. But here we are. Okay. Then we will, whatever we are doing in our page, we will start building the login system. So by this point, we would have built a bunch of pages. So I will start with the authentication code. So that will be server actions, right? Then authorization will also be there. So that will be basically some sort of like a data layer, if I'm correct, that I will be looking to. I'll see what can be done there. Then we will have error handling as well. Okay. We will also see if it's possible, some sort of like utilizing some sort of like a pagination or something like that, but we'll see. Maybe it's not necessary right now. I'll show you a page, or I'll show you the docs where you can actually learn that part if we don't cover it. And then we will have A11Y accessibility thing, and finally we will have metadata part of it, and then we will close it. Okay. So that's the context of basically what we are going to do in this Next.js crash course summary table. Okay, cool. All right. So starting from this point on, it's chapter 2, installation. So for that, I'll open my Ubuntu. If you have not seen the previous stream, I actually switched from Windows to Ubuntu. So there's that. And for that, I'll go inside this. Let's see, do we have live? Yep, we have live, and we were learning something. So now I will say, okay, by the way, N for me is PNPM. So if you check, this is PNPM. Cool. Sorry. So I'll just do and create next latest. So it's basically pnpm create space next dash or hyphen app at the rate latest. And for that, we'll say next 15 crash course, not course. Yes, we want TypeScript. Yes. ESLint. Yes. Uh, do you want it inside src? It depends on your preference. Let's go with this. For me, I do want it. App router, yes. Turbo pack, yes. No. Okay. So it will download everything. And the editor that I'm going to be using for this is VS Code, because I want the LSP to take preference over whatever the AI generated rubbish is. So yeah, hope that is understandable. So now we will go code. Also, let me just make it bright. Okay, here we are. Cool. The first thing that I'll do is I will create two files. One is prettier.rc, then another is prettier ignore dot prettier rc dot prettier ignore. So that's one. Then I will do add d prettier. Let me just check. Okay, there's a Tailwind CSS prettier plugin. Here it is. Let's copy this part, go back to our terminal, add it here. It should be added as -d. Cool. Then I'll go here. In this git ignore, make sure that .env is there, right? Otherwise that will be committed. Then here I'll make sure that my tab is false. I don't like to use tab. Tab width should be 2. Semi should be true. This is semicolon. And single quote for me is always false. I like the string to be inside the double quotes. Okay. Then it should be end of line. That is LF, the Linux or Unix based system thing. So there's that. And then it should be print with, I make it as 100, and then plugins. And here I'll just add whatever I pasted, right? This, what we did. So this plugin actually helps you basically reshuffle the Tailwind classes in an opinionated way, so that when you're working on team, everybody has the same order of classes or utility classes in their HTML or JSX, so that there's no git. I mean, otherwise the git entire thing will be a disaster, trust me. Okay, so that is done. For this, I'll just add node modules dot next, node modules dot next, and public. Okay, cool. Once that is done, I'll go to package.json. Here I'll write format, and this will be prettier dash dash write this. Okay, so there's that. And once that is done, I'll just run format, and this will format this entire thing, and then we'll create a git init, which is going to be creating me this branch, let's say master. And then here we'll see what we actually are doing. There's nothing here, so I'll do the status. I'll add everything here, or maybe I can just change the readme as well. If you want, you can change the readme. I'll change it later. So we added it. Now again status, then I'll say initialized repository for live tutorial. Okay, now it is asking me for this. So I'll just do a global part here. Global user email equals code dusting @gmail.com. Do the same for name. This will be code dusting. Cool. And let's do this thing again. Okay. Now GH is not available, so I'll also be adding that eventually. So basically we want, this is a setup, initial setup, right? Which we talked about, installation. And in the installation, I also like to actually deploy the things so that we are actually set up and not, so that later whenever I push something, it is already there. Cool. So let's do this installation. What I'll do here is copy this entire thing, paste it here, give the password. By the way, you should not do this. I mean, data copying and things like that. It's just that I trust GitHub that they won't be mining some sort of like cryptocurrency. So I did it. And now that we have this, let's say auth login. Yes, 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 yes. So basically I need to go here, go this point, go here, continue. Now I'll just copy this and paste it here. Authorize. Yep. Yeah, yep. Okay. Hello. Um, yeah. The voice is actually there. So now it's done. You can come back. Yeah, it's fine. Enter the, it's done. And I'm logged in. Cool. Now gh repo create is a command that will help me push this existing repository as name. So I'll just do that. Live streaming of Next.js 15 crash course, public, yes, so that it's available everywhere. Yes, yes, yes. And we are done. Now we can actually go here. We will see that this is available right here, right? Cool. Now if I go to Vercel, I'll add a project and here I'll import it. I'll name this project as, well, whatever the name is there, I'll just add that and we'll deploy it. While that is deploying, let's run this using pnpm dev or ndev for me, which is going to use the turbo pack. And now I'll just do this. And this is our local site. By the way, anything you hear from the background noises and things like that, just ignore it. I'm living with my family and there's going to be a noise. Cool. Now that this is done, let's go here. Let's see what is happening. Hopefully everything here is fine. Yeah, see, these warnings are something that I want the Next.js team to fix, right? They should be moving to latest packages inside as well, but can't do much. Cool. Now it's done. So now we can add a domain. Let's do that. What I'll do is, because I have code dusting here, I'll be adding next 15 crash. Okay, next 15 crash. I'll just add that domain. This is something that Vercel makes it extremely good. So now if I visit this, it's the same thing, right? This is my local and this is my production. Cool. And I'm not going to be doing any sort of like other things. Okay. Now let's do something. So we will be testing few things. One, we'll go inside our SRC just to test whether the entire thing is actually working fine or not. We are going to remove this app page and we are going to say export default home page. And here we will say this is a new home page, right? We will also be removing the, okay, we'll just let the gist be there. Don't want to disturb that part. Cool. Now if I go to my local, this is how it shows me, right? Let's do it. Flex goal, item center, justify center, HDVH. So these are basically the flex classes. I mean the CSS classes, which will make the entire thing center. And here I can just say H1, make it like this. Let's add a class for this. Let's make it 5XL, which is 48 pixel, which is the highest that I go. And this is it. Cool. So now once this is here, I'll open another one, go live, go to next 15 crash course. I'll add it. I'll say changed initial page for testing. And then I'll just say GPS is for me get pull push origin, right? Push origin. So I'll just push it to master. And this is done. So nothing else. This should actually fire a build process in our production. So once that production is done, we will refresh it and we will see whether this is now in production, right? So that means our first step is installation part is going to be over, and then we'll proceed with the routing. Let's refresh. It's still not done. Let's go this. Okay, so it's pending. It's working something. We can click on details. Cool, it's done. Let's refresh and we are set. Cool. So this is the entire end-to-end setup. Vercel makes it easy, so there's that. But you can actually utilize your DevOps team if you have one, or you can learn DevOps if you are keen on it, so that you can utilize Docker, deployment setup, GitHub Actions, things like that. Your choice. We will move forward with chapter 2, routing. Cool. So let's understand routing. So just in case, anytime I'm giving something in this particular crash course, I'll be doing the theory part. Then I'll just show you how it actually works. That's the plan. Cool. So let's start with routing, which is chapter 2. Okay. Hopefully nobody here is actually commenting. Yeah, cool. So for the routing part, I'll just tell you the most used cases of the routing and how it works. So Next.js actually is basically file-based routing, right? Next.js utilizes a file-based routing. Then in that it has named files, which means something. Okay. That means these are page.tsx, loading.tsx, layout.tsx, error.tsx, template.tsx, and most likely these 4 are the ones that you will be using. This is not something that we hardly use. We hardly use this, so not going to cover this. Then you also have some sort of like not found.tsx, which is a error thing, right? And that's about it. Among this, the error.tsx is always going to be a client page. The rest can actually be server pages as well. Okay. And apart from this, you also have something called route.ts, which is an API endpoint. And between page.tsx and route.ts, route.ts takes precedence. Okay. So that means if you have page.ts inside a folder and route.ts inside the same folder, route.ts will take precedence. So let's see that in action. Basically, the file-based routing means, let me also just make it that, you should have a folder name in Next app router becomes the domain name, right? I mean path name, URL path name, right? App folder is just the home path name equals the slash, right? Any folder inside the app is slash dot folder name. It requires the page.tsx to load that page. Cool. Sorry. So let's see this in action. We'll start with our home page. If you check this particular page.tsx file is inside the app folder. Therefore, it is basically a home route, right? Now, if you don't have a folder, another thing, app folder always require a root layout. So that's one thing that you will always need. Okay. Now let's say we have a cats and I'm going to go here. You can see that it is not found. Why? Because there is no cat folder with a page.tsx file inside it. Okay. Another thing which we tested, if the app folder has a page.tsx, that will be shown. However, here if you have a route.ts file, right, and this actually exports an async function, let's say export async function get, right, and it returns a message, I take precedence over page.tsx, right? Then okay, wait a minute, let me just check how the route.ts actually works. If I'm correct, yes, it's fine. Cool. So this used to take, I think used to take precedence, but they have changed the errors. Conflicted route at page route and okay, let's check. Last time I checked, this used to be the case. So let's say there's a cats, there's a route.ts. I'll add this here, remove this from here, and let's go to cats one more time. Okay, I think something is not working for this. Route.ts. Okay, sorry. So I think this was the issue. So let's say response JSON. Here I'll add message, I take precedence over page tsx. Let me just check this part. Okay, that works. So let's do this because I'm pretty sure that actually happens. It's just that I messed up the return part of it. So if I just do this, go to my page Okay, they have fixed it. Cool. So I guess this will not work. Maybe here. Let me just check. Export default function cats page. Yes, they have fixed this part. So previously it used to actually take the precedence. Now it will give error, I think. So basically now it will either be route.ts or it will be page.tsx. So if I just make it like this, then I go here. Now it will be like this. Okay. So let's bring this back. Let's not, let's wipe that thing that this is the case. Well, that also updated my knowledge, I guess. It was the case since till 14th version. So I think they figure it out, or they just change some behavior. Cool. So this part can be taken back. If you're using Next 13 or 14, this is going to be the case. Cool. All right. So let's go back. Here we are. Okay. So to demonstrate the route part, I'll just do it for the sake of that video recording part as well. So one is that every single folder, so basically that we saw in this thing, file-based routing, the folder name with this app router, right, starts with basically the folder name becomes the domain part. So, and the app folder is basically the URL slash. So if I need slash dashboard, right, I need to create within the app folder a new folder called dashboard. And this new folder dot dashboard can then be visited. If I go here, if I say dashboard, I can visit it because it's available here, but it will still throw me the 404 page not found error. Wait a minute. It is working fine. Okay. The reason why it is looking for a page.tsx file. The thing is, this part slash is app. This is app. This is the new folder. If you need another folder inside it, you will create another folder and that will be something here. And then if you want to turn the folder into a page in that particular URL, you actually go inside that folder, you create a new page.tsx file there, and then you write export default function, let's say dashboard page, and you return it, say dashboard page. And then when you go here, right, you reload it and it will be here, dashboard page, as you can see. Cool. So that is the way of creating a new page for this. So that's one. Second is the necessity or the necessary file is layout.tsx. You need at least one layout.tsx in your entire app folder. So if I just simply copy this entire thing, if I just simply delete it, right? So previously what we saw was in my Next.js 13-14 tutorial that when we deleted the layout file, it used to create an automatic layout file. Let's see whether it does the same here as well. So now if I go here, it will not do that, right? But it will give an error, which is, I think, the better, you can say, behavior. So now it tells you we have a HTML tag is missing and there's a layout, following tags are missing in the layout things and that, but that's because we don't even have the layout, right? So what we are going to do is we will have a layout. Once the layout is here, it's back. So you need at least one layout. Now, how the layout actually works is like this. So imagine that this is your home page, right? I'll make it like this. And this is basically a part of the layout. So basically what happens is layout actually is just giving you wrapping the entire HTML body and then the child. Okay, nothing else. Cool. So that means the actual layout is going to be not like this. Let's do it like this. So it will be HTML, then it will be body, then whatever is the child is going to be a page. Let's make it this. So this will be my child or children. Makes sense? And this children can be a layout, or it can be a page, or it can be a combination of both. So that's how the behavior works, which means if I just show you the right click page source, not this, right click inspect, here this part, head part, body part, all of this is a layout part. But this part, right, this section part is basically a page part. Make sense? Now if I go inside the dashboard and I create another layout file, right, and I export that here, dashboard layout, and every layout needs to have a child, by the way, in case you don't know. So it should be a React node child, children, and then it will be basically let's make this as dashboard layout, and I'll just paste the child here. Let's make this as dashboard layout. Okay, now let's go back. You can see that in the root, the only thing that is available is this layout, and this child is this page, the root page. But if I go to dashboard now, let's make it like this. If I go to dashboard now, it will have the child of this dashboard, right? When I go to dashboard, the root layout is anyways going to be there. Otherwise, we won't have HTML body and things like that. So it will be there. But for the child part, because that dashboard page has a layout itself, so it will take care, it will make that layout as that child. And then that layout of the dashboard has a child, which will become its page. If I remove the child, right, you'll see the page is gone. Right? If I bring back the child, the page is back. But if I remove this entire layout itself, right, the page is now the default child. So hope that is making sense. This is the boundary conditions here. Okay. Next is this is basic routing. Hope that is the clear part. Now let's start the process of understanding what we're going to do with this knowledge. So we are building authentication system, right? So for that, we will have few pages. One is the home page, right, which we anyways have. Then one will be the dashboard page, which will be our protected page for the sake of this tutorial. Home page will be our public page, right, which is accessible by anybody. Then we will have login pages. For this, we will have registration page. I think I messed up. Yeah. And we will have login page. Let's call it auth pages. Okay, so let's build that. Now the home page is anyways app. Dashboard page is this dashboard, right? And the auth pages I want inside the auth. So for that, what should I do? The things that I need to do is inside the app, I will create an auth folder. That is that. Then here I will have, let's say, sign up /page.tsx, right? So that's my sign up page. So if I just make it auth sign up page, that will be my sign up page. Okay, I'll copy this, and inside the same auth, I will have, say, sign in page, which will be sign in folder, and within that another page.tsx file which will be, for me, it will be sign in. Make sense? So now we have the auth with the sign in folder and sign up folder. Within the sign up folder, we have page.tsx. Within the sign up, we also have the page.tsx. Cool. Now, if I go back and simply go to auth, sign up, I will see sign up page. If I do sign in, I will see sign in page. So that's routing overview, right? Let's move on to chapter 3, which is styling and font optimization. Okay. So this is chapter 3, styling and font optimization. And for that, let's go to layout.tsx file. Within the layout.tsx file, you will find that we have something called local fonts, right? This is a Next.js way of loading the fonts. So what happens is, let me go back here. Okay, so how is the form actually loaded? So for that, we need to understand what is a critical rendering path. So let's say this is my page load process. Okay. What happens is, the first time you actually go to another any page, the first thing that actually loads is HTML doc. Okay, and once that document is loaded, the parsing actually begins, and then you have line by line execution of the entire things. So let's assume in this HTML doc head, it finds a link tag. The browser parser actually finds a link tag which says link of CSS, right? So let's say it has CSS file, then it has font file, then it has JS file. Okay, with some code. All right, and these actually are in the head. Let's assume that. So in that case, what happens is, the moment the link tag is available, so if I go to this page, where it is here. Okay, if I go to head, the moment I see this style sheet, right, what the browser will do is, it will wait, it will hit the request for this, and then it will wait for it to complete. Okay, so it will go to this particular CSS file link line, it will hit the request, wait for it to complete, load it, and then go to another line. Let's say that is a font file line. So then again, it will do the same thing. Then it will go, so let's say some sort of like a JS file. It will go and do the same thing, and not only that, it will run the code there, and then it will continue. So this is how the process of HTML doc parsing actually works. First, the HTML doc, once that is done, then CSS files. If the CSS file has some sort of like an internal loader, so that's also like imports, it also loads that. And whatever the font files, now these are actually not like first the CSS and fonts is basically depending on where you have put those things, right? And the same with this, where you have put those things, JS files. So that's how actually it actually works in a very overview, big picture process, right? So one by one. The optimization part comes when you want to load the font file, right, in parallel to the loading of your HTML doc. So the moment the HTML starts loading, right, and we receive the first HTML document, the parallel loading of the CSS file, font files starts, or the image files should start. So that is something that is done using some sort of like web optimization techniques. You can wait for it when I'll come with this entire tutorial where am I actually building. Wait a minute, I'm building this thing called online sites, and there is no stack. It's basically the HTML, CSS, and the entire version, right? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Basically, everything is default, no framework, no nothing. Everything should be done from the ground up, and that's what we are going to do eventually down the line in this year. So you can look for it, but that's how the optimization actually works. You can actually learn about it. There's font swapping, font, a bunch of things, to be honest. Wait a minute, let me check. Okay, hopefully there's no lag. Cool. So that is the font optimization. How does the Next.js do it? Well, Next.js actually has this package called Next font, right? And with the Next font, you can have any of the Google font if you actually supply the Google, and then you can get those fonts. You can have it here, and then you simply add it here as a variable. And then you can actually go to Tailwind CSS file like so. I think they have it here. Yeah. So it says variable, but they have not used it. Okay, let's use it. So once you use the variable thing, okay, let's do it one more time. The thing is, this is how you optimize the font in Next.js. You call the font, you load the font through this package, internal package, Next font Google. If it's a Google font, you do it like this and you simply call it here. So for example, if I want to use Inter, I have it here. If I want to use DM Sans, I have it here. If it's if it's a Google font, it should be available here. That's what it is. And you load it before the CSS file, obviously, and then you have this setup, which is you create a variable, you pass that class, you create a variable for it. Basically, this is a name that you will be using, the CSS names. This is a subset. You use this subset so that you can filter out all the other sort of basically sets, right? So if it's Latinx, this extended or things like that. Because you're using just English, let's go with the Latin part. And this is the same with the mono. We don't need mono, so I'll just remove that mono, right? It's gone. We don't need it here. We will make it like this. And this is how you will add the variable gist sans or gist sans. I don't know how to pronounce it. Dot variable in the body. Then this will be available throughout. But because we are using variable, so we will have to supply this inside the font, inside the extend. We will have font family. Here we will have sans, and we will have var this and sans. Just this will be enough. We will go back. And here it is, right? Now, if I go to home page, it is still trying to look for Arial. You can see it here, Arial, because in the globals, we have this as font family. So what I'll do is remove this in the body of the globals.css. Now we have this Times Roman. Okay. So this is my sans. This is variable. It's right here. So either they don't have it published or something is messing up. Okay, this is the font family. Let me just think. I think it's inside this. Now if I just close it, go back, come to this. Okay, I think this is not working for them. I'll also remove these things first. I don't want the, sorry for that, light theme. but this is gist sans. It is inside the body. We are doing the variable part just fine. Then we are utilizing the this. Let's make it at the top. And go here. There's a external default srcs. They are extending the colors. Don't actually need this. The font family sans, and there's a var. We have the gist sans just right. Yeah. Okay. I think this is not working for some reason. If I change this to say enter, same here. Let's say enter. Yeah, I think something is just messed up in this part. How about we do the class name? Yep, now it is working fine. I think something is messed up on their variable part, because this is how it actually works. You supply it here and it should work. Maybe here. And let's make this as well. Oh, okay, got it. Sorry, my bad. So basically, when you supply it like this, you actually have to add the font family, obviously, which is going to be the sans, and then it becomes like this. Sorry, my bad. Cool. So this is how the font actually behaves. Now, if I go to performance and reload it, stop it, come here in the network, you will find that you see this thing, this WOFF2 file and this CSS file. They are both in parallel, and this is basically my doc, right? So see, this is the doc. The moment the doc is loaded, which is a high priority, you can see that the font file now has high priority. Therefore, it is loaded in parallel with the CSS file of ours, right? And this is render blocking. This is not render blocking. So what we're doing is we are actually loading it as well. The font thing, you can see font, and this is my CSS. If I adjust, let's see. Okay. Cool. So you can see that they are actually in parallel. So that's what the font optimization is. And the way the styling actually works is quite simple. You simply add the global CSS file, which has a tailwind, and now you will be able to use all the tailwind classes. And this is how the Next.js comes out of the box. And I will tell you that just go with the tailwind classes. If you do not want the tailwind classes, you want to remain the old school, what you can do is you can have a module file. Now that module file can be, say, dashboard.module.css. Now this module file is basically how the original module CSS module styling used to work in React. That is still working. So you can have, let's say, I don't know, let's say center, right? And for that you can have the entire CSS class. How you actually do it, say column items, align items center, right? Justify content should be center, height, let's say 100 dbh, right? If you check what I'm doing here, right, this is exactly the same as this page. If I just make it like this, copy it here, you'll find that flex is this, this is this, this is this, this is this, this is this. Okay, so I'm not doing anything else. It's just that I'm writing the CSS. The thing with module CSS is that it is page specific scope. So it's not like So when you are going to use the page or when you're going to use a component, that's where this will be loaded, and therefore it helps you resolve the conflict situation, which anyways do not arise in Tailwind scenarios. At least I didn't found it, but yeah. So now if I go to my page here, right, I actually have to import styles from this module, and then here I will add class styles dot center. And when I do that, I can just close it. I go to dashboard. Here it is, centered. Okay. And if I remove this, it's back. Cool. So these are the two ways of actually doing the styling. One is CSS modules. This is something that if you don't like the Tailwind, you go with this, but I will say just go with the Tailwind. It's much better. Cool. All right. So that's that. That covers basically our part 3, which is styling and font optimization. Layout and pages, I already told you how this actually works. And now we are going to work on whatever we have learned till this point, and we'll include the links. What is links? Links are basically anchor tags which help us to go from one page to another. But instead of using the anchor tags, we will use the link component. What's the difference? Well, let's assume this is our page. Let's use the anchor tag and we want to go to the dashboard page. Let's say go to dashboard, right? Now if I go back and come to this point, now if I click here, check what happens here. See, this is the entire page load. Let's go back here. If I go back, you'll see that this is also the page load. So the anchor tag actually loads the entire page, whereas the link component, which we are going to be looking into, this actually is a client-side routing, which utilizes the inbuilt. Basically, it utilizes the history, replace things like that, the methods of browser to actually do not load the page, right? So if I go back here, now check what happens when I click on go to dashboard. There's no loading here. If I go back again, no loading, right? So that's what the link component does. So it's good in a sense that you don't have to reload the page again and again in Next.js application. Also, it has a pre-built prefetch thing. So for example, in the production, so for that to show you that, I have to actually build it. So let's just go and build this thing. And I'll explain you what I'm about to show you. So for example, what does the link actually do? Cool. Here's a link tag. All right. So what it does is, let me just check whether this is working. It does. Okay, there's no lag. Okay, so what it does is that it in the production, the moment that particular link will come into the viewport, which means if you can see it or if it is visible in your viewport, this is a viewport from left to right, your screen is your viewport. Okay, the moment that link is available in the viewport, it behind the scenes, it prefetches the page for it, right? It will load that dashboard page, and therefore when you click on it, it looks as if it's instantaneous, even though it's not, because we are using a server-side rendering. So it's not, or static rendering, whatever you want to call it, for now at least. Okay, so it does a prefetch in production, not in you can say by default, not in development. At least that's how I looked into it. And when we build this page, you will also see that all of these are for now static, which means they can be cached, they can be served through CDN, blah blah blah. So now let's start this. Now this is actually the build thing which is now being served. So I will go to my inspect page. I will go to network tab like this. I will clear the cache and reload, right? Now, the moment I reload, you saw that there is a local host, which is our page, right? This is our document, but see what happens. There's a dashboard which is already fetched, right? So it's like a prefetch is already there. All its media files, static CSS, things like that are already fetched. That's because of that, how the link actually behaves. And so if I clear this, hover over it, go here, it's already there. You saw that this did not fetch the page. It's not localhost page. If I reload it, now it is this page, right? And this is my main. So if I go back, see there is some sort of like a page fetch happens later. So let me just show you again. Dashboard is here, right? If I remove this, click here, it fetches the page. Why? Because there's no link there, right? There's no link to homepage. Whereas in this part, if I just reload, it's already here. Therefore, if I go here, there's no fetch, nothing. So that's the production optimization of the link that Next.js does by default. It's basically akin to saying that it's kind of like saying prefetch equals true, right? Cool. So this is the link tag. Okay, now based on this specific knowledge, before we move ahead, based on these knowledge till this point, let's build our UI, right? For all the pages that we are actually going to do, and then we will go and start looking into these. And if it is not possible to complete today, I will do it stream tomorrow for the part 2, and then we'll combine and things like that. Okay, cool. Let's go. So what we are going to do is we have a home page, and this is our home page, and we have a link, right, which is going to go to dashboard. But I want two links. One is going to login, and then one which will take us to dashboard. So what I'll do is I'll create a new div, which will be basically saying, let's have a new div. Here inside that we will have two links. One is to go to dashboard. One is login, right? This div will have flex. It will have gap of, we are not tackling the mobile design and things like that, so it's just there. Gap of this. Justify will be center. Items will be center. Good. Now if I go back, go here, I have to stop this, run the dev server, refresh. It's right here. Okay. I'll also make this 6 so that we are sure what we are doing. And I'll style this link as well. So let's do this with gray 950 text say white. Yes, this will be this. That works with the rounded. Okay, when I am hovering over it, then I want the BG gray to become a little bit soft, and that should do it. Yeah, maybe 800 should do it. Yes, that's fine. Okay, same here. I'll just do like this. Just make sure that the gray is, for the sake of some let's make it 800. Let's make it 600. Maybe 700. Yeah, this should do it. Cool. Also, I'll just say next one. We'll do the same here. So that this takes, okay, not this. Min width, I'll just make it, let's say, how does that sound? Okay, this is much better. So this is 154. Let's start with this. So I'll do the min width, and this is just stupid styling. You don't have to worry about it. Min width here. Let's say min width here. Okay. And we'll also make this as flex. Whatever the item is center. And whatever the justify is also center. Cool. We'll do this here as well. Flex item center, justify center. You don't have to do this, but it's just that, right? And I'll add this as home page public route. Okay, so this is our public route. It is go to dashboard, go to and login page. Now let's copy this entire thing. Go to this, remove this module file. Inside this, I'll add this, which is a dashboard page. So I'll just do the dashboard. And here I'll add dashboard. Basically, I'm replacing the dashboard and make it as a private route. Okay, so now if I go here, this is a private route, which should not be accessible to us unless and until we are logged in. Okay, so I'll just keep it here when we are going to tackle the authorization part. Now let's go to sign in. Okay, for that, we go to this page, and in this login page, we'll supply the path here, which is auth/sign in. Okay. And here I'll be adding my form. So sign in page. Let's have a section. And within that, I will have a login. And then I will have a form, which will have some sort of an action. So let's say it's right now it's just a form. And that form will have a field set, which will have a label, which will have a name. Let's say name. It will have an input of text. We do not require, to be honest, React hook forms in Next.js 15. So that's what I'm going to show you, right? This is the form. Enter your name. Okay, so if you check, this is an old school way of writing forms. There's a form which have a field set, which have a label. Label is for accessibility purpose, which is pointing towards the ID of name input, which is right here. This is a name which is going to take care of accepting the value. This is an uncontrolled form. Uncontrolled means that we are not utilizing the React states to control the values of a form. We are letting the browser decide how it will function. And that is the default behavior of the forms in the browser. We are doing this so that we can have progressive enhancement in it. That means that if the browser does not have JavaScript loaded or it is disabled, the form should still work. Cool. So if I go here in this login page. Okay, I'm inside the dashboard. Let's fix this part as well. So here I will have eventually log out, not log in. We'll check it later. For now, let's make it just dashboard, and this can be go to home page. Go to home. Now if I go back home and click on login, this is my form. Okay, so in the sign in page, I'm going to again write the same thing. Flex column, dvh, justify as center, item center, and here it is. I'll make this as a font bold, text for Excel. Okay. And this is my form, which will have flex as like flex column, like this. Gap will be, let's say, 4. So this is basically stacking the field set one on top of one another with a gap of 16 pixel. Justify it to be start. Items should also be start. And each of the field set should have a flex and flex column, so that label and input are one over the other with the gap of, let's say, just 2. Also with start and justify as start. Okay, so that's how it will look. And make this as full and align this as left, the heading. Okay, I mean, not make this as full, let's say. Maybe we don't need the, like, this is not required. Yeah, item centered is not required. Maybe. Let's do it. So basically what we will also do is, I just want to style it a little bit better. Okay, so what we are going to do is, this should be a max of width of 640. Let's go with 96. This should be enough. And make it as MX auto. Cool. Now this can now have a full, which will make it like this, and therefore these forms can also be full. And now it is fine. And I will add a margin top of 8 so that there's a gap. Cool. So this much is fine. What I'll do is, there's a plugin that is, there's a plugin Tailwind CSS forms. Here's the plugin. See, this is the plugin. We will go inside our Tailwind config, and here we will say forms from this, and we will add the forms here like so. Then we will come back here, we will add this as a dependency, dev dependency at the rate Tailwind forms, and then we will redo this, and that should do it. So this is for basically helping us style the forms, and there's some default form styling that actually happens when you do this. See, it is much better in my opinion. Okay, now to make this take the entire like the full width, what we have to do is basically add in the field set full as well, right? And the same goes for this input, which is going to be full. And now we are full. Okay, I'll just make this as, like, say 4 6. Yeah, that is much better. And make this as just 1. Cool. and make this as rounded, little bit rounded. Okay, so this is my name, right? This is basically login. So rather than name, I will have email. This will be my email type. And yeah, so this is good, right? Now I'll just copy this, paste it like this, make this as password, and make this as password. Okay, cool. And then finally we will have a button which will be login, like so. And for this I'll do b of 2 rounded, bg gray 950 over bg gray of 800. Text will be white, and that's about it. So this is my login. Also, let's say uppercase, and this X pixel, basically left right pixel, should be 4, and this looks much better, right? So now if I click on login, okay, let's say gmail.com, let's add my email, login, you see that this form actually works. How? Because you saw this is a default behavior of the form, which is if the method is not post, then it behaves like get, and it fills this URL with email and whatever that you have typed, right? Okay, so that's the form for login. Let's copy this entire thing. Also, because we don't have a account, what I'll do is outside this form I'll have a div, or let's say I'll have kind of like a footnote, so let's say footer, and in that footer I will have a text which says don't have an account, register here. Okay, so this register here can actually go inside the link, like so, and this can actually go inside a span, like so. Okay, like this. Cool. And we'll make this as auth sign up, and that's about it. Cool. Okay, let's make this empty of 6. We'll also have full, that's it. And here we will have class of font bold and underline. That should do it. Cool. Now if I click here, I'll go back to the sign up page, and that's what we want. So let's copy this entire thing, go to our sign up page, paste it like this, make this a sign up. I mean, this name doesn't matter, but you get the idea. It's for us humans, not for that thing, right? I mean, not for the browser. So here we are. Now for this, because we are registering, we need this double down. For the HTML, confirm password is going to be the case. So let's say here we will have confirm password, ID as also confirm password, enter your password, enter the same password. Okay, we can say again, and that should do it. And here we will have register, and now we can already have an account. So just go and log in. Cool. Now if I go back, go here, go back, go here. So our pages are done, our things are done, right? If I just fill this up, register, you can see, no. You can see everything is here. So the form is working how it should. The UIs are ready. Now we just need to have some sort of logic. And for that logic to be here, okay, for that logic to be here, let me just check once. Hello. There's no issue. Okay, for that logic to be here, we need to move forward with the setting up of our database. So that's what we are going to do in chapter 6, setting up our database. All right, chapter 6, setting up our database. What database are we going to set up? We are going to set up this database, which is Vercel database. We are going to our Vercel. We are going to go to our storage. We are going to select one of these. Okay. Just in case, before we do that, let's push these changes to production. So let's say completed till, not ill, till chapter 5. I don't know what that means, but okay, cool. Now it is here. So we go back, we see our build process in action. We can wait. And while this is happening, we can have another open storage, right? You can go to storage. Now you can have any of them, right? Edge, blob, neon, upstash, things like that. What I'll use is Supabase because it is something that actually works. So I'll just create on create. I will accept this. Don't worry. If you are on Happy Plan, this is actually going to be free. So I will click on create new Supabase account. Okay. Here you select the nearest ones. For me, it's Mumbai. Then it will fetch the plan. Make sure that this is the free plan, current, right? Which is too good. Continue here. Type the name. If I'm correct, it should be, just make sure you type the same name. So for me, it's going to be next 15 crash, if I'm correct. Yep, here it is. So I'll type the same name in the database. Primary region is fine. Things are fine. I'll just create it. And you can check that this is also working. Okay, this is our production. That's why I set it up in the beginning. See, everything should work out of the box. Okay, now this is our database. We can actually open it in Supabase. See, it is with us in the Supabase. This is our table. It will set up certain things. Now, thing is, you can check the status here. It will actually, once it's done, then we can actually proceed. What you need to do now is, I'm not going to show you, but basically you will click on this show secret. Then you will click on copy snippet, whatever it is. Once that is copied, you will go to this part. You will create a new file called env.env and you will just simply paste it. Once you paste it, come back here. Okay. So I'll do the same. I'll remove this device. Okay. Now I will do the same thing. What I'm going to do is show secret, copy snippet, hide the secret, come back to my VS Code. In the .env file, I'll paste all that secret and then I'm done. Everything is here. You can see this is line 14. Okay. Everything is here. Cool. Once that is done, right, it's available now. So if I go here, it's available. I can go to table. Everything is fine. Cool. So that's our setup of database. Okay. Is it working fine or not? Hello. Hello. I think there's some issue with voice. Sorry. Hello. Okay. Um, so once this is available, once this is available, what we are going to do is install a package by Vercel itself, which is at the rate Vercel Postgres, right? So I will add a package, which is at the rate nadd or pnpm add at the rate Vercel, then it will be Postgres. Okay. All right. This is it. Cool. Now, once that is done, we will need enclose this file and yeah, cool. So this completes our setting up our database, Vercel, Postgres, and Supabase. Now we are going to look into, it says data fetching, but technically what the plan is in the dashboard, right? In the dashboard, we will have our profile information fetched. So that will take care of the data fetching part. And in the what we are building right now is authentication with the server actions and authorization with the data layer access. Let's tackle those things. So I'll restructure the order, but you can understand that we have to cover pretty much most of the things, right? I'll just show you how to tweak these things. Okay. So authorization and authentication. What is server actions? Okay. That's since we are going to look into it, let's look into it. So one is authentication. Another is authentication. Then we have things called authorization. Okay, how to understand the very basic English words? Well, the first thing that you need to do is simply look into the definition of it, and that should actually give you the trick. So the problem with us non-English speaker learners is, we have like two-step problems. One is we don't understand the English word quite often, and then next step is a concept, right? For the native English speakers, it's just the concept part. So, and one of the things that I found interesting with us is, and this may be the case with people who are native English speakers but just don't know the meaning of the words that they're using, is the moment you understand the word meaning, you kind of get the grasp of the things. Okay, so what is authentication? It's basically saying, are you the guy or are you the person who you say you are? So it's basically kind of like an entering mechanism, right? Are you authentic or not, technically speaking? So if I say I am X, am I really the X or not? So that's the process of authentication. Okay. Authorization is saying, are you basically allowed to do this action or not? Let's assume I say I am X and the authentication process says, okay, you are X, I verified you. Enter. Once you enter, now the thing is, there are 3 doors and one door is for admin. Let's say there you have, or you can think of like this. Are you an American citizen or are you an Indian citizen, right? So that's an authentication process. Once it is identified that yes, you are an Indian citizen, or you are an American citizen, or you are a German citizen, whatever citizenship you have, then it becomes, can you access this security level? Okay, can you just go inside a prime minister's office, or can you go inside just president's office? No, because that requires authorization. Are you a president? Even though you're American citizen, are you a president? Same with, are you a prime minister? Even though you're Indian citizen, cannot just simply go and say, hey, since I am an Indian citizen and I am authentic Indian citizen, I should be allowed to access whatever the Prime Minister of India is capable of accessing. No, that's the authorization level, right? So that's a part of authorization. It's like access level is authorization, identity is authentication. Hopefully that is clear if I'm correct. So this is identification, identity related. Question to ask can be, since we are so political right now, are we and am I an X country's citizen? Similarly, for this, it's an access level question. And question to ask is basically, am I allowed to access the security details of this country which a prime minister is allowed? Right? Prime minister, let's say president, is allowed to access. Because see, the thing is, citizen is a role, right? Citizen with a prime minister is a, or president is a admin role, right? Or citizen with, I don't know, president, depending on where you are, can be admin too, right? So it's, the entire country actually works on the role based access mechanism system, which is funny, but that's how it is. Okay, so that's the entire thing. Hopefully this is understandable. All right, so what we need to do now is implement the system. Okay, so let's start with the login. To make sure that the login is possible, we need to make sure that the user actually exists. And for that to happen, we need to create a table for it. Okay, just wait a minute, I'll drink some water. Okay, hello. All right. So for us to actually work on it, we need a table which will be, say, a users table. And for that, I will have ID, name, email, and password. That should do it. So let's begin there. Okay. Uh, what I'll have is basically within this app, I will have a folder called seed, and that will be a route.ts file. Now, here's the thing. To be honest, we do not need in Next.js 15 or 14 or 13 for that matter a separate component for our components, because if within the folder the file name is not page.tsx, layout.tsx, loading.tsx, error.tsx, and things like that, what will happen is that they will not be a part of the route system. So that means if you have a header component, you can actually have a header component within a new folder, let's say UI or something, or direct, just header.tsx. That should do it. Just information out there. But for this part, okay, let's create a seed file. And for that, I'll be creating a new route, which is going to be async route, which will have a get function, right? And for now, I'll just simply return response.json, which will be basically saying I work. Okay, let's go here. And inside this terminal, I'll hit this, which is curl x, right? And here I'll hit the seed. And it tells me I work. By the way, if you have Linux or something like that, you can have this utility called JQ, right? So let's see. Sudo apt install JQ. Hopefully it's the same thing. Yeah. God knows what I installed, but here we go. Now, if I say JQ, you will see that it actually pretty prints the JSON response, right? So I'm just piping the response from this to here. Cool. All right. Cool. So this is my message and it is working. Now, what I want to do in this file is I want to seed this entire database, right? So that means when I say seed, for us, let's just have a user table created there, nothing else, right? And that should kind of like do the trick. So we will have a try catch block, right? And catch will be the error catching. And here I will simply say whatever the, I mean, basically there it should return some sort of like first response.json error, error, and here it should have some sort of like a status, which is say 500, right? So that's one. And then we need to actually have connection with our database. Okay. We are using Vercel Postgres. So I'm going to import from Vercel Postgres. I will import DB. Okay. Once I import the DB, I will create a connection of client equals await db.connect. Okay. Now, if you have env file with like proper env file with all its content, this should work. Okay, cool. Now I will have a async function which will be create user table. By the way, we can create the user table directly from here. I just want to show you that you can actually do it using this package through program, even for the Supabase. Okay. Now for this, I will have client.sql, right? And this will be basically backtick, which is just a backtick. Okay, wait a minute. Basically, it's a template literal. Cool. Okay, since it's a template literal, I will have first an activation of an extension if it does not exist, right? It's basic SQL, by the way. UID OSSP. Now, Superbase is Postgres, so that's why I'm using this. Okay. Then I will have client.sql and again backtick. Open it like this, close it like this, and here I will have my entire command, which is create table if not exists, right? Which will be users, and this will be having bunch of columns, which is ID, UUID, okay, default, UUID, generate v4, okay. This will be primary key like this. Then we will have a name. We will have varchar. We will have 250. Postgres actually recommends you text, but because in terms of performance, it says it is nothing. But let's just go with the best practice. Maybe the best practice is not varchar in Postgres. I don't know. Some database person can actually help here. And this will be a password, which will be text, and this will be not null. Okay, so this creates our DB. Does that make sense? Okay, now that's about it. We are not going to do anything here else, any other thing here. Okay, so now if I come back to try, I will simply say await client SQL, and here I will say begin, right? Kind of like a transaction. Then I will await create user table like so, and then finally I will say client SQL, and this will be commit, kind of like a transaction. So if this fails, the entire thing actually rolls back, and therefore in this response JSON, I will have a message which will be database seeded successfully. Okay, even though it should be database created successfully. So let's just we can do that. Let's say that user, yeah, let's forget it. That should be it. And now here also I will say client, once this is like catch is error, so client SQL, this will be rollback, and that's it. Okay, so hopefully this should actually work and create us the entire, I don't know, database there. Okay, let's see. Hello, am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah, there's no lag, thankfully. Okay, so this is my route, right? Now if I go back, come to this page, okay, come to this page, and I hit this entire thing one more time, and it says database seeded successfully. So if I now go to this page, which is Postgres, now table again, let's see, we have the users table right here with the ID, name, varchar, and I mean email and password. Let's also let's do, we don't have to worry about this right now. opt out, and that's about it. Cool. So now we have a table. We have an email, password, confirm password. We can actually have that. Let's go to our auth sign up page. Here we will have confirm password, right? Cool. And here we will also have our name, because why not? Type is going to be text, email is email, password is password, confirm password is confirm password, and we're good to go. Okay, now let's start with inserting this table into our database. Now in this sign up, I will have a actions.ts file. You can also have the actions.ts file in the auth itself, so that both of them can be taken from here. And in this actions.ts file, make sure that you have use server at the top. It's a directive which now makes it possible for any exported function, async exported function in this file to be a server actions. Cool. Okay. And we will also need n add zod. Okay. So this is zod. Now, Zod is something that we will be using anyways. So it's not like something that we are not going to use. It's always will be there. Cool. Okay. So now, so yeah, where was I? Zod. So Zod is something that we will be using. No issue there. It's just that we are not going to pair it with React hook forms. Okay. So in this actions file, we will have use server at the top, and then we will have a form schema. Let's have a basic form schema, which will be our Zod. Let's say import. It will be Z from Zod. Okay, so now it will be Z object, and this will be basically our entire thing. So the form schema will take care of basically what we're trying to enter. So it will be name, right, which is going to be Z string. Okay. So yeah, our name will be just Z string, and it should not be an optional. So it should have a minimum of 1 character at least. And if that is not the case, then we will say, please enter your name. Right? So this is basically an error response. Then we will have email. Okay. That will be basically a string as well, but it will also be an email. And then here we will have, please enter your email. Okay. Then we will have password. Password will be string, and this also will have a minimum character of, let's say, 12. And if that is not the case, right, we will have please enter your password, right? Thing is, do we need just this? Is something that we need to actually ask, because password has some sort of like a regex or something like that. So we can create those things as well. So let's do that itself. Okay. So let's create that. Maybe okay. So rather than doing this, right, what I'll do is, so this is something that I'm actually looking in another screen of mine, in my mobile. So we will have a regex, right? And that regex will have basically this format, like so. Okay. Maybe I should just simply copy paste it. Uh, Let me see whether it's even possible. Otherwise, I'll just type it just in case, so that we are good to go. It's not like I know rejects. So there we go. So we will have question mark equal uh, dot asterisk, I mean star A to Z, right? This will be our first thing that we want. Then we will have question mark asterisk, I mean this, again this as A to Z. This will be a second thing. So basically it's saying it can be small, it can be up, or it should be small, it should be up, one that. Then it should be, again, not understanding regex much, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It should contain one is special, one is small character, it should contain one big character, it should contain one digit, then it should have one special character, which is going to be our at the rate, dollar, exclamation mark, percentage, star, question mark, ampersand. Done. Done. And then it should have A to Z, A to Z, digit, at the rate, uh, dollar, exclamation, percentage, star, question mark, ampersand, close, right? That should be basically 12 digits long. Okay, something is messed up. Let's see. So we have at the rate one, then we have this one, then we have digit one, then we have okay, now we simply have to have this as this, and this works. So I'll paste this to my chat itself, also in the description. Right now I'll just paste this part, right, once this is done. So after that we have in this itself, right here we have a comma, and then it will be password must be at least 12 characters long, include at least one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, one digit, and one special character which is a part of these special characters, like this. Okay, I don't know what this is, but this is my entire password. So I'll just paste this regex in our chat like so. I don't know whether it will be allowed or not. Yeah, it's not allowed. So I'll do it in this chat, maybe. Let's say, oh, okay, how about this? TS. Yeah, so I pasted this here in this chat. I'll paste the same in this chat, which is kick chat, and I'll do the same here. I would have done the same here. The problem is I can't. It has some sort of like an digit issue. So for this, I'll paste this in the description itself if I am capable of doing it. Let's go here. Let's go here. Okay. Cool. I don't have anything here. So it's not possible to do it here, unfortunately. Okay, I'll just paste this regex rather than the entire thing. So here you go. Wow. How about this? Yep. Later I'll paste it in the description as well as in the comments. That should do it. Okay, so cool. So here we are now. Once this is done, we will have the same thing for confirm password, like so. Okay, and then we need to make sure that we also have something called this and this should always match, right? So that's why we will have something called super refine, and in this super refine we will have data and we will have CTX. Now the problem is super refine, it's I couldn't figure it out when it actually works and when it does not. So there's that part of it, but we'll figure it out. At least for this it will work. There was an issue with the file upload I was facing in my personal work, but yeah. So if the data of password is not equal to data of confirm password, right, what we'll have to do is we will have a CTX, we will add an issue, we will add a code, and in this code we will have z.zod issue code, right, which will be a custom. Then we will have a message for it, which will be confirm password should be yeah, doesn't match password, right? This is our issue, message, and this is our going to be our path, which will be confirm password. Now if you check these names, password, confirm password, name, email, they are equal to the names here: name, email, password, confirm password. Okay, so there's that. I don't know why this is like saying this, but let's put it this way, put it this way, put it this way, put it this way, just in case. Okay, this is our form schema. Let's call it a sign up form schema, right? Now we will have a sign up action. For this we will have const export. We will export a const which will have a sign up action, right? And it will be an async function which will have some which will take form data, which will be a part of form data, right? And this will do something here. So for now, what I'll do is I'll just I will extract it out. So there are two ways to extract this form data out. One is you can actually have things like that. Let's say you want to extract the name. So you will just say form data dot get dot name, right? And then if I console log the name like so, and then go here inside this form, I will provide an action, and this action should be sign up action. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So in the form, we will provide an action which will point towards this action, and this will call this particular action. Once we submit this form, right? So for that, let's also make this button as type of submit. By the way, this is a default thing, the submit. But if you have like two buttons, one is say button of reset or something, then you make sure that the type there is button. Otherwise, every single button within a form which does not have a type is assumed to be submitted or submit type, and therefore the form keeps on submitting, right? Yeah, hope that is understandable. So now in the form, we have an action. When we submit this form, this action will be fired, and it will bring the control here. This action is not on the client end. Cool. So we are logging the name, what we are sending. So if I go back, inspect, console, I'll just fill the form using this fake filer or something. Yeah, fake filler. It will fill certain things. I'll simply register, right? You will see nothing actually happened here. Also, nothing happened here either, right? So it's not a get action anymore. It's a submission action, which means it's by default post action. So if I go to network, see it fired with a payload, right? And now if I go here I got it, right? This is my name. Okay, cool. So that's one way of getting the name. But if the form is too big, right? For example, even here, we have to actually do this for, I don't know, four of them, right? But we don't need that. We don't want that, right? So what we can actually do is we can have something called raw form data, and this will have an object of from entries and form data dot entries. So form data can actually give you all sort of entries, and we are creating the object from those entries using the JavaScript. So this is a default JavaScript, by the way. Same here, right? This is a default JavaScript method. Now, if I console log the raw form data, right? Do it again, register. Here we are, and we get all of them. Cool. Now, how to validate it? Well, it's very simple. We will use this. After this, we will say safe parse, and then inside it, we will pass it like so. Does that make sense? So whatever this is giving, which is that object, it will go inside this safe parsing Zot validation function, and this will give us validated fields. Okay. And this validated fields now have two things. One is if the validated fields dot success is not the case like this, then we have an error. Does that make sense? So if this actually fails, then we have an error. This is basic Zot. This is not something that is a server action thing. It's a basic Zot thing. The server action part ends here when we are sending it here, right? From here to here, the only thing that we are doing is we are validating everything on our server, nothing on the client, right? Which is preferable to some people, which is not preferable to some people. What I want to do is I will like to do this thing, Zod verification, validation, things like that on the server itself in the server actions. Whereas here I will simply add the required in the end. Once I'm done testing, I'll simply add the required here, right? Okay. Okay, so here we are. If this is not success, now what we have to do is return. We will return the errors, right? Which will be validated fields error flattened, which is a call. It's a function, and then it will be field errors, right? And here we will have a message, which will be the global message. Let's say we call it missing fields fail to register user. Make sense? Okay, cool. Now, if that is not the case, then we will have our data within the validation field and data. And this will now give us name, email, password. Okay. Confirm password is no longer required because otherwise it would have failed here. We'll see. And now I can have console log of name, email, and password. Okay, let's see. So now if I just say register, right, we will have some sort of like error. Let's say register. Okay. That's messed up. It should be giving me false. Okay, I'm not console logging it. Yeah, that's the issue. We'll check how to actually take this error on the front end, but for now let's console log this inside if there is an error. Okay, register, and we have all these errors, right? Cool. Now let's say I have this. Now if I just do this, see, the name one is done, but now we have these. Okay, now let's say this and add one more password. See, the only thing that is now the error is password one. Now if I have this registered, again there is a password error, right? So for this, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, the password has a lot of feature in our case. So what I'll do is I'll go to strong password generator. Let's say 12. I'll just copy this, come back here, paste it here and add one and %, paste it here and one and %, register. Now you can see this is how we have everything here. Does that make sense? Okay. Hopefully this is like making sense how we are actually doing the things. All we are doing is we are passing the entire mandate from here, like whatever we used to do in the React server actions, React hook forms, we are doing it in the server end. Okay, but the question now is, how should we show this error to this? Well, for that, we need to make this entire page, since it's just a form, so we can make this entire page as a use client form, client page. If this would have been, let's say, some other full-fledged page, and then there's a small, there's a form somewhere. So we need to extract that form, make that form a client form, and then do this. Since it's just a page, I'm just going to do it like this. Otherwise, what you would have done is, let's do it that way only. So we can just extract this out. We will say form.tsx use client. Let's say default function sign up form returned form. Okay, sign up action is here, and here we will simply call that sign up form. So this way, this page is server component, but this part is client. Okay, now we will go to this client, and here we will have something called use action state from React. It will be important through React, and this will only work if you are using Next.js 15. Otherwise, it's some sort of like a form state, form status, things like that. So now we will have a state, we will have error, and we will have is pending. Okay. So state. Okay. Like this action form will have state. It will have form action, not this. By the way, these variables can be anything. It's just that in the first it gives state, whatever the state is, or data. So it, or when I say data, I mean this thing. Whatever you're returning, it gives you there. So when I say state, it means state.errors or state.message or something like that, right? So that is that. Also, since it's basically we are returning back, now it depends what you want to do. For example, if you check here, anytime we are submitting things, right, it is removing all the previous submitted data, even though it's an error. So if you want to prevent that, you can have a data part here, and you can actually give it validated field data, right? You can not this, I mean, since it's failing, so what you have to do is you give it this part. So you can extract out this part into raw form data, like so. You can paste it here, and then you can utilize this raw form data and just give it back to us, right? So that we use this data part and keep this part intact. This is going to be a part of the state. Then there's a form action, and then there's a pending. So the form action will actually go here, like so, right? And this action in the use state thing, like so. And then we will have an initial state. So the initial state will be message. Let's start with this. It will be errors, because if I am here, it is errors. Let's call it an object with this empty object. It will be a message. Let's call it null. It will be a data, which is empty object, right? It can be a data. So this is what this entire thing is. Now this action is showing error. Why? Because when we use the use action state, this signature actually changes, which means we cannot have just form data. The first should be, I don't know why we never use it. It should be a previous state. So for that, we will have unknown, because we are not using it. So I'll just keep it as unknown itself, right? Okay, we can have it unknown. And here we can have the entire thing as basically undefined, right? Now we are good. Cool. Then what we have to do is okay. I hope this is clear. We are using the use action state. We are calling the sign up action. We are having the undefined. Let me just check whether this is working fine without any issue. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So, and this action is coming from whatever the actions we are typing here. inside it, it's just basic Zord schema validation till this point. Basic Zord schema validation. And once it's failed, we are returning back the object with the errors, the message, and the data, so that the form can remain filled, right? And then we are extracting the name, email, password, the fields that we require, and we are console logging it. We will see what to do later here. Now in this state, what we are going to do after this input, we will have a check which first will have basically an ID of custom name error, like so. And this ID will have an aria live of polite. This is for the sake of accessibility, so that when this div is filled, or like the content inside this div is available, the screen readers will wait for the other actions of the screen readers in the page to be completed before they announce that something is here. Okay, that's why it's polite. And the aria atomic here has to be there. So aria atomic should be true. Okay, now here we will have state, and we will check for errors, not this, errors. And within that, we will check for name. If this exists, right, then state errors name map, and then we will map the error, which is going to be a string, into a p tag, which will simply be giving me the error. And here I will have key, which will be an error, and the class name will, not this, class name here will be empty of 2, a little bit of space from above, text of sm, which is like some sort of like a 12 pixel or 14 pixel text, 14 pixel text, with the text of red 500, right? So that's what we are doing. Okay, so if you check this thing, this is an array, right? All these errors are array. Therefore, we are checking, and the entire object is error object is object. So we are checking whether this exists or not. If it does, we are mapping through it. All of the errors inside this is going to be strings, right? And then we are going to make it like this. If there are a bunch of errors, it will be one by one. Okay, that's what we are doing. Cool. I'm going to copy this, paste it here as well, and make this part email. Okay, copy this, paste it here as well. Make this part password, and same here. Not that it is going to be required, confirm password. Okay, and finally, outside the button, right, let's check. We will have where do we want the main error? Well, we can have it below this. So outside this button, we can have something here. So for that, this footer, right, if I want this entire thing gone from here, I have to make it a part of this, like this. I will have to make this inside the fragment, right? And since I don't, I mean, this depends. See, if I want the main error to be just below this register or above the register, like here, right? So it depends what I'm trying to move up and down, right? Let's say I don't want it like this, right? So I will keep it here. It's up to you. You can decide what's the point of styling here. For me, what I can do is the main error can be a part of here, somewhere here. Okay. So it can be basically an ID of form message, right? Because see, it can be an error, it can be success. So it's going to be a form message. Again, the aria live will be polite. Aria atomic will be true. Class name will be some like this, which will be, let's see. So I will have this class name my of 2. So both up and down, there is a space, then rounded something, then it will be bg of red 100, px of 4, it is padding left and right of 16 pixel, padding up and down of 12 pixel, which is py3, then transition of opacity, duration, let's say I want 500 millisecond, and finally I will have I'll have a state here which which will I need. So for example, if if state dot success, so we need that as well. Let's say here I say success is false, right? And later I'll say success is true. So let's say I say success is true, right? Something like that. So here if I have the success equal false, then it should be then it should be this. Like this. Otherwise it should be green of 500. Okay, so just to recap, this is the default behavior, right? If I'm correct, we also have cn ability. So okay, we didn't install the chat cn. So okay, so we will have this, right? Then we will have the status. If it is false, then it should be like red, otherwise it should be this, right? What we can also have here is yeah, this should be good. Then apart from that, we should also have another thing, which is if it is visible, right? This is a state that I will come up with. Opacity should be 100, otherwise opacity should be 0, right? I'll show you why we are doing it. So let's create a state here, which will be use state. It will be false, right? And this will be is visible, and this will be set is visible. Okay, and here we will have use effect, which will run when the state message is available or changes. And here it will think, it will say if the state message is available, then set visible will be true, right? And then it will have a timer. That timer will be set time out, and that will run after say 2 seconds, so 200 milliseconds, right? And what this will do is it will set the is visible to false, And then inside this, we will have a return of, basically we are clearing the timeout thing, passing the timer. Okay, so what am I trying to do? Well, first, it's kind of like the fade out of the message from the DOM using CSS and not this from the server side message like this, right? So we can use toast if you want, but I'm trying to use this. Okay, then inside this head message, we will now check whether the state.message exists. If it does, we will have a p tag where we will be telling the state.message. And this will be again inside this template literal, it will be text sm font medium, and again state.success. If this is like false, I mean, we don't have to do equal false, but I'm just kind of like paranoid. So we can have text red 800, otherwise it will be text green 800. Does that make sense? Cool. Yes, you're right. Yep. Always use optional, always in the client end. Okay, and this is pending. What is this for? Well, this is basically for this button. So make sure that disable this button when the action is happening. So we are just going to do that, and we can change this. We can say is pending, then we can have I don't know, let's call it the signing up dot, otherwise sign up. Okay, cool. And then we can actually remove this. I don't like this now. Yeah, okay, so this is what this is. Also, you can have I don't know whether this has lucid react or not. Yeah, we don't have it yet. So basically, if you have some sort of like a lucid react or some you can have some loader here as well, right? Also, if I just make it like this, hopefully this works. Let's see. So what we'll do is we will make it 3G. Yeah, it is not working. So what we will do, see that actually the pending part is working. It's just that the style is not working because we have to add it. So if it's pending, right, what we'll do is we will have disabled, not this. I think we will have disable. Yep. And we'll make cursor pointer cursor not allowed, disabled, opacity equals, let's say 50. This should work. Yeah, see, at least this is working. Now this is working fine as well. Like it required some sort of like a styling of disabled, so we are here. Cool. So let me just say no throttle, and you can see that this thing is actually just working just fine. The problem is with some height and issue like that, which will be this thing. So let's remove it. Let's call it start. Okay. Let's say this is 12, just for the sake of it for now. Styling is not something that we are focusing on. Here in the form, this part is for this, right? So if I just do this, see, this came and then this went away. So that's what it is for. The thing is, right, it messes up the entire design. Therefore, it should have been somewhere below like this. And now if I do this, it will come here and this will be good enough. Good enough, not like good, but good enough. Okay, now let's fill this form. Sign up. Only these two are bad, which makes me sign up this like way. Okay, now let's say code testing. Code testing. We will have our password. Right, and here we are. We will have some sort of like a password, which is bad. Fair enough. Now the question is how to actually retain this part. Like, I don't want these to go away. So that is done using the data part with this available here itself. So we have something called default values inside the form. There you will have data dot name as, make it string and make it like this. Cool. Just make it like this or nothing else. Same here. So default value equals state dot data dot email as string or nothing. Same here. Maybe you don't need this password the same way, so we will not have this, but these two will be available just like this. So in the beginning, nothing. Sign up here. Now if I say some sort like this, these two will be available and the user only has to fill these two, right? The best thing about this part is that if I inspect, right, and I have let's see, disable the JavaScript. Okay, I disabled the JavaScript, reload it. Cool, there's no JavaScript. Now see what happens. This entire page actually will load. So if I have this, see, the entire page actually loaded and it worked. This is the benefit of using server actions and the form like this rather than the React hook forms. I'm not able to make this work with that. Therefore, I'm just going with this in the future. Okay, we will use this here for our purpose. I'll add it here with this, right? This is going to be our password. Okay. So in the sign up page, we are done. Let's copy this entire thing. Go to our sign in page. Okay, let it be for now. Sign up. Inside the action, we should be coming to this part first, right? And once we have this part, we need to have a hash password thing. Okay. So let's have the hash password equals, and for this I will use argon npm, because between bcrypt and argon 2 is much better if I'm correct. This should use argon a, wait a minute, argon I, yeah, this is a default id, which is what we want. So let's go to this page, add it like so, argon, 2. First time using it. So let's see. We will have the requirement of argon 2. So now we will have here import argon 2 from argon 2, and we will have hash. So we will just say argon 2 dot hash password, right? And this will be await hash. Okay, try catch. Okay, and then big long hash the password. Okay, so basically this is going to be my password. Till this point everything need not be inside the try catch. After that we will have a try catch, right, for the error handling part. And for now let's say error, right, and we will return something. Say errors will be, let's say, error. Message will be error dot something. We'll see what we will do. For now let it be like this. This is my hash password, so I will just say hash, and let's check it out first. I think this is the problem. The password should be this one, so that it actually works first. Sign up. It's successful. Now if I go here, see, now we have the hash password, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, now that we have this, we will insert this inside our database users. Okay, now that we have this, we will have our client scenario. So we will have a client, we will have db.connect like this. Then we will also have client dot release like this. Now since we are using data Supabase, therefore I am using this. Somehow the pool mechanism doesn't work there, therefore it is like this. And here we will have client dot SQL. There it will be insert into users. It will be name, email, password, right? Then it will be values, and that will be direct values of name, comma, email, comma, and this will be hash password, right? And that's about it. If you're worrying about some sort of like SQL injection, understand this actually takes care of it. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, so this should actually work, and this will release it. And once this actually releases it, we will just let it be. And if it is an error, if it's an error, then we will have message only, not this, and this message will be, let's say, database error, cannot create new user. Okay, this should be enough for us to get our user. Now, the only reason why the error will happen is if this is not default setup. Like, I mean, if this is a default value is done, so it should actually work. Let's see. So what we will do is create a new user, Duncan Bowers, whatever. Go here, copy this like this, paste it here, sign up. Now this should actually work. Let me just refresh. And we have our user. Cool, right? So this actually works. Now, here's the thing. Once this works, like once this is like working, what should we be doing? Well, technically we should create some sort of like a token. We should add it to our database. We should add it to our database. We should then supply that to users and things like that. We'll do it eventually. Let's first complete the authentication part only. So this works. Now, once this is done, what I want is to redirect using the React Next navigation, redirect the user to dashboard, right? Let's check it out. Okay. So I'll create the entire thing again. Paste. And I am on this page, right? Dashboard, which is a private route. Now, thing is, which I was telling you in the application, there should be some sort of, right? There should be some sort of, let me just clear it. Okay. The moment I register or log in, an access token should be generated and supplied to my cookies. Same here. If I'm using, or it should also be sent to the client end, if that is the case, right? So that's the thing that we will do in authorization part. Now let's go to login and login. Okay. Now we need to supply the login part. So we will have, this is my email, let's say, and this is going to be my password. Login, it should log in, right? So that's what we are going to make it make work. So I hope this registration part is clear, right? Sign up action, raw form data, field verification, hashing using the Argon, using the client SQL, we are inserting the user. If there's an error, we are sending the message back, right? Otherwise, if it is a success, then the try will complete, it will come out, and then we are simply redirecting the user to our dashboard. In between, we have to do the JWT, cookie access, and things like that. We will do it later. Maybe not today. Maybe I'll do the authorization tomorrow. But for now, this should work. Let's do the same for sign in. So let's begin. In the sign in, I will create a new form called form.tsx. I will be fast this time because I expect you guys to understand now. Then I'll just copy pasted the sign up one. It should be a use client one. It should be a sign in now. Let's say like this. The rest of the things will be same. No issue. Everything will be the same. Same with the form action. We'll change the action for sure. Let's wait for that. For this, we don't require the name. So we will remove the name. Email should be there. Password should be there. Nothing is required on this part. Confirm password is not required. This should be sign in. Yep. signing in, yeah, login, whatever you want to call it. And this should be sign in. Same, everything is same, right? This works. Then in the page itself, we will remove this part with sign in form like this. Make sense? Hopefully it does. Then here in the form itself, we will remove this action. We'll go back to our action. We'll create a new action, which will be const sign in, not sing in, sign in action. It will be an async action. It will have an unknown first property. Then it will have a form data. Then it will be like form data like this. Again, it will have a raw form data. It will be object.from entries. It will be form data.entries, right? Then it will have validation. So validated fields. It will, now we need to go up. We will just copy these two. We will have const sign in schema, right? Let's see, sign up form schema. Yeah, sign in form schema. We will have z.object, not on number object, and inside this we will paste it like so. Here we will have sign in form schema safe parse, and we'll pass the raw data. This will be this, right? Once this is there, then we will have check if this is success or not. If it is not a success, we will return back the errors. We will have validated field data error, flatten field errors. We will have message. Let's call the message the same thing which we have here, and then we will have the data as in raw data, right? If it is working, then we will extract out the data, which will be email and password. Then everything that happens afterwards will be a try catch scenario. So it will be errors like so. Here we will just return this like so. One more thing, if this is an error, this will never reached. This will never actually run, because this will never reach. It will return here, right? That's why we are capable of doing that. In the end, we will have redirect, which will again take us to dashboard, protected route. Inside the try, we will have basically an await argon. Let's see what it was. Await argon to verify. So verify, we will have the hashed password. So for that, we will again hash the password. Yeah. So, okay. One more thing. To make this actually work, what we have to do is we will have a client. This will be db.connect. Yeah, await db.connect. This will release, and here we will have await client, not clear, right? Client.sql, and here we will actually select, right? We will select the password from users where email equals email, right? So we are going to get the password from there. That is going to be the hash password, right? And let's see. Let me check one more time. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it is working. Okay, so this select thing, right? This will actually work better with, because we are trying to get the data, right? So we will have a data. Let's say uh, user data, right? And inside the SQL, right, we can actually pass what exactly do we actually want from this. So we can have a state here, which is going to be this string, right? Um, and this string will, we can, now we have this user data. So let's just first console log this data, right, to show exactly what this is. Yeah, so we will go back to our create. We will have this, this, like this, sign in. Okay, that is fine. This is my sign in page. And this is going to be a sign in action like this. Now it will be running this sign in action. and I'll just paste it, and it says it is here. So basically it ran, right? Now let's see what is the basically what it gave. So this is a result that it gave, which is command of select, then it has rows, and then it has the password. This is what we actually want, right? We want this rows and the password. Okay, so technically our data is inside the rows. Okay, so let's get the data, and that will be the first row, if I'm correct. Right. So the reason why, yeah, okay. So this is a row, which is just one row, and it will be two rows if we have the same, like, let's say I am saying Duncan Brown Bowers, and I'm saying Duncan Bowers, right? And let's just save it. Fresh. Okay, I think it's like real time update. Yeah. Now if I do say where name is, name equals Duncan Bowers. Okay. Now if I do this, if I just remove, okay, Bowers, user data dot rows. Okay. Now if I do this and I log in again, go home, go here, just yeah, just log in again. Okay, I think I missed whatever the password was. Okay, so okay, now it will give me two rows, right? So basically that's why we will have rows, and then we make sure, because see, since we are doing it in an email fashion, right? So we are sure that at least the email, since email is unique, there will not be and two users with the same email. Therefore we can assume that our user is going to be, so let's say this is row data, let's say this is just a data, db data, right? And this will be db data dot rows, and it should be one, right? If it exists, then there should be one, right? That's what we are assuming for this point, and that will now have user password. So now we can say if await argon 2 dot verify, this will be my hash, which will be user dot password followed by my password, which is coming up. If that is the case, right, then I am allowing the login to happen. So that will be basically success, right? So login success. Let's see. Right? Else we also will have throw error. login failed, right? Yeah, something happened. So basically this will come up here. We will also need to then have this release can actually go to finally. Now this is fine. Let's go with this. We can also have this, right? Now let's see. If I go to home, go to this page, copy, paste, copy, paste, sign it. This works. We will have login success. Now if I go back, go to login, paste it again, copy, paste it here, add something here, sign it. This will database error, and it says login failed with this error, right? And by the way, this is because I'm printing the entire thing. Otherwise this is like perfect. Login failed. Okay, so that's how it is actually working. So our login system is now going to work. Basically the authentication part is just working just fine. So now we have to make sure some sort of like a success thing is actually happening as well. So in the actions, while we are returning, let's say success equals false. That's one. And that's the only thing that we are returning. Here also success equals false. Okay. Same here. Here. Success equals false. Basically, it's a API contract. So yeah. Cool. Now it works. So this takes care of our authentication in our crash course. Authorization is something that we can look into right now. So for the authorization, we need, okay, what is authorization? Authorization, I already told you that it is kind of like an access level, and that means we need to pass some sort of like a token that we will be verifying in each and every step of protected routes, right? So to make that part happen, what we can do is we can have a JWT token created for session token creation. So let's say session token creation, JavaScript. Let's type this part, right? And here it is. You can go to any thing, does not matter. It, see, that token can be anything. It can be JWT, it can be anything, it can be bunch of other things. See, it can be anything, right? All we need to do is basically send with each request. So it can be either authorization, it can be either cookie based, it can be either whatever. See, the session storage thing is basically session storage. There's a cookie storage, right? So it's like too much. So what we are going to do is we are going to say do it in very simple manner. So let's see, JWT npm JSON web token. Okay, npm server side. Oh, I think there's time is actually running out. So what I'll do is I'll continue this part tomorrow, right? Because it's too much of a time for me. And yeah, so we have covered till this point. Let me just make it like this. We have covered this setting up the things. We have we didn't do the data fetching. I mean, we have done it, but not entirely. We will look into this part. We have completed this part. So I'll just add it above like this, right? Authorization is what we are going to look into tomorrow, first thing. And then we'll see. All right. So this is what we are going to cover tomorrow. This will be our part 1. Part 2 will be tomorrow, and once tomorrow is complete, this entire tutorial will be cut, edited, and will be posted on my YouTube. So if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure that you are subscribed to it so that you can have well-informed, I don't know, man. You can have like well-informed JavaScript ecosystem knowledge, because this year I am planning to do Next.js, Golang, and from scratch, just HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and see the limit of those just 3 technologies to the max by building an online store through it, full-fledged, right? Back end, front end, everything. All right. Take care. Bye and Happy New Year.